Hello, thank you for tuning in to this video concerning the tech for 2018 with the Southern National Series. I'd like to thank Schaefer Oil for being our title sponsor. I'd like to thank all of our other sponsors involved, including Sunoco, Tennessee RV, and the many others that we have. I'd also like to thank all the racetracks for booking the races with us. I'd like to thank all the racers for coming and racing with us. What we're going to do in 2018 is sort of change the process of the way we tech these cars. If you've ever been to any of our races, you'll notice either myself or a tech man walking around with this stick or something similar to it, and we'll check the deck heights on these cars. And as you can see, this car right now actually is too high. It won't pass tech. Tech has been sort of a joke for the last year and a half, 2 years with these deck heights in the back, simply because we have a lot of smart people in our industry, and they've basically figured out how to manipulate the rules to where the cars can get higher and higher as they're, when they pull on the racetrack and go down the straightaway. What we're trying to do is limit the height of the car. It's a droop rule. All cars have some kind of a chain or cable or an underswung bar connecting from the rear end to the frame rail of the car that determines how high the car will go in the back end. What engineers and smart race car drivers and different people that work on these cars have figured out is that the higher they get the back of this spoiler, the faster they go. So that's why you're seeing all these cars get as high as they do nowadays during the racing. The racing we have is great. We don't have any problem with any of our racing. Our cars look good. The racing's probably the best it's ever been. Having said that, the downfall to our racing is people turning over more often and getting hurt easier. In the last 2 years, we've had more cars turning over than I can think of since I started racing in 1987. There's guys leaving the sport with injuries. And as a track promoter and as a series director, anytime we get into a situation where the track is rough, or maybe we've got rain and we're running faster than we normally would, we have a tendency to these cars to turn over. And like I said, as a track promoter or as a series director, we basically spend all night long wondering how many we're going to have turn over and how bad they get hurt. So the purpose for this new rule that we're going to amend for 2018 is simply for safety. That's all it's about. We're not trying to slow the cars down. We're not trying to take any engineering out of the race car. We're not trying to take any shocks and springs away. All we're simply trying to do is just get the cars back down closer to the ground to where they're harder to turn over. Now, I'm not saying we won't never have one turn over again. We're going to try to lower those percentages to where the cars are harder to turn over. I want to take just a simple second here and show you guys a little bit of how the tech works, and all the racers that see this already knows. But basically, you walk up to the car, measure the deck, and in this case, this car is an inch too high right now. All you have to do is stand on the back bumper, and you'll see crew members doing this every time they get ready to go through tech. Stand on the back bumper, and then get off, and the tech man comes up, and as you can see, now the deck's too low. Simple 2 seconds or a minute or less, a crew member can adjust this car to where it's real easy to pass tech. And it'll actually sit there for a little while. As long as the car don't move, it'll sit right there and you can tech it all day long. But the minute that the car pulls on the racetrack is when the car is gaining attitude. I want you to watch as I jack this car up, how high that it'll go and what I'm talking about. What I've just done is I jacked the car up underneath the underswung bar, which is the frame rail that goes underneath the rear end. And as I jacked it up, you can obviously see how high the car is getting. Now there's no need for the deck height stick anymore. But if you measure it, you can see that this car is at 51 inches. Now this particular car is a brand new car, and we haven't really took the time to cheat it up or to make it get as high as we possibly could. The cars that are really good nowadays, while they're racing, they've got their cars as much as 54 inches high. 53 to 54 is some cars we've seen. The majority of the field is around where this car is, which is 50 to 51. But a few people have got them higher. Now, that's great, and we're not trying to take anything away from those guys. But the disadvantage, or the bad part about this is the guys that don't have as much experience as the traveling racers, when they get these cars, they don't know a lot about them, and it's easy for them to turn over. They think they can drive the way they used to, and they can't. So at the end of the day, it's basically just causing us to have more cars turning over, more people getting hurt, and more people leaving the sport, which is something we don't need. What we're going to do for 2018 is a series. We're basically introducing a Droop rule, which is the distance between the left rear tire and the frame rail, of how far it can separate while you're racing. It's very simple to check. The only thing that's going to be different is we have to check it after the race, and we're going to check it just like we have the car right now. We're going to jack the car up until the left rear tire will turn, just like this. And as soon as it turns, then we'll go to the back of the car, measure the deck. The measurement that we're going to start out with is 47.5 inches from the ground to here. Now, this car is measuring 51 right now. All it takes to make a car go down to 47.5 is a simple piece of chain. This is something that we had on race cars ever since the 4-bar suspension was created. People have been putting chains on the back of these cars. It's very simple. They also use them in NASCAR. A lot of forms of racing just use something as simple as a piece of chain to control the movement in cars. This chain, I went to Lowe's and bought it. It's 5,400 pounds. It's the heaviest one I could find. It's $4 a foot. It took 17 inches of chain to fix this car. So you can do the math on that. I've got less than $8 in the piece of chain that it took to fix the car. Basically, all we're going to do is hook this chain up, and I want to show you the difference. That 1.5 inches less chain than what I have now. There's chain on this car right now, but I'm going to put one on it that's 1.5 inches shorter, and I want to show you the difference it makes back here. Okay, we went underneath the car and shortened the chain like we showed you. And now we're going to jack the back of the car up, and I want you to notice the difference by putting a shorter chain. Okay, now we've jacked the car up with the shorter chain. It still looks good, and the average race fan and the average racer won't notice the difference unless they're driving it, obviously. But you come back here and measure the car now by taking 1.5 inches of chain out of the car. We basically got it at 47 inches. 47 inches is going to be the rule, and we're going to allow a 1/2 inch variance. And all the rules that we put out, it's just basically a rules amendment. The steps that we're going to use as tech men to take this procedure after the race is real simple. We'll basically slide a jack underneath the left rear corner of the car. We'll jack it up until the tire starts to turn. As soon as the tire daylights, then we'll measure the back of the car. We're also going to set the air pressure to 6 pounds so that everybody's got the same air pressure in the left rear corner of the car. But we'll get our measurement, and that'll be it. And we're going to check the top 3 after each race, plus 2 random picks. I believe it'll be easy to take simply because we can probably stand in the pit area and just see whose cars are higher and who's not. At the end of the day, basically what it's going to do is bring the cars down to where they're safer and a lot harder to turn over is what we're hoping. Now, if this measurement is not correct, we may need to adjust it 1/2 inch one way or the other, and we're certainly willing to do that as we get into it. But as of right now, this is the measurement we're going to go with, is 47.5 inches. This is something that a lot of people in our industry has told me that we need to do. I think we need to do it, and 80% of the people that I've talked to is on board with it. There's nothing wrong with making our sport safer, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make the cost anymore or anything like that. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. My number is everywhere. It's 828-360-5353. I'd like to take a second to thank Kaylor doing this video for us. You can check him out. He does a lot of in-car cameras and stuff. But I appreciate him coming to our shop and shooting this video. I also want to thank all the many racetracks that are supporting this. We have a lot of them that we're going to be announcing that are going to this rule, hopefully, in a short period of time. But I think this is something that will help us make our racing safer and keep people from getting hurt and leaving the sport that don't want to. So if you have any questions, give us a call. I want to, like I say, thank Kaylor for helping us with this video. I want to thank Schaefer Oil again, Tennessee RV, and Sunoco Race Fuels. And I also want to thank Wynn Motorsports and Capital Race Cars for letting me use this car to shoot this video. Thank you.